Hi, this is Bea from Sorcery Soap, and today I wanted to talk about stencils. And if you've been following a bit, then you see I'm fascinated with stencils. So one of the things, here I'll show you, here's a stenciled bar of soap. You can see it's a little bit raised right here. It's a little standing dog on a bar of soap. This is soap dough. This is cold processed soap. Soap dough is cold processed soap, just pliable. And this is a fully cured bar of soap now. So when you use it, this will wear away eventually, but it lasts a lot longer than mica. And so I've been working with soap dough for a long time, and I don't know why. I do know why. I asked myself, I don't know why I didn't look into stencils before, because I put stenciled soap in my first book where I talked about it. I think I put pictures in there, but I definitely put it in The Magic of Soap Dough. And one of the reasons why I didn't pursue it is because I didn't like the designs that were available. Every time I went to the store, I'd look online. I found stuff created for cake makers. And that's cool, except that the designs are way too big and they're too close together. So you don't have any surface around it to be able to wipe the soap off. And soap is a little bit more sturdy than frosting. Frosting moves different and it's smoother, and you can just use a very delicate line and just wipe it off and still not have to futz with it. With soap dough, you have to futz with it a little bit on the edges. And so you need a little bit more of a surface in order around here in order to get the soap dough smooth here. Anyway, so a couple months ago, I started imagining what it would be like to have a soap stencil. First, I just started making them for myself. I had to investigate how to make them. And so that was a whole new learning curve so that I could cut prototypes at home. So I learned that, and I made these, the clear ones like this, and I like them very much, and I have hundreds of them. But then I had to figure out how to design them. Like, how do you put images together so that they can lay on top of a soap? And lay on top of a soap, here, let me show you. Lay on top of a soap so my bars are about the smallest size. They're 3 inches by 2 inches, 3.5 inches by 2 inches. And mine are about the smallest size bars I've seen. Lots of people use larger soaps. So I figured if I created soap stencils for mine, they'll work for larger soaps. So if you can see that, so these are the butterflies. So I had to resize all these butterflies, and then I had to make sure that there aren't any, see, a lot of these butterflies and images that I get, the silhouette images I've purchased, or I have copyright-free images or whatever, I redesign them so they take off like the antenna or whatever, because those won't come out on a small scale, and you want them to be able to come out. And so to be able to, and then put them on top of a soap so that you can move past all this. See, if you move past this and the stencil is right at the edge, that's not very helpful. You need a little bit more space to keep a flat surface. So all that took thinking, and then and it took, consideration. And then I really like the solid stencils. Like, this is a solid stencil without any inclusions or positive and negative space intermixed, like the tribal sort of stencils. Those are cool, and I have yet to investigate those fully. But the reason I say that is because it's a little bit easier, and it's interesting to see depth in a stencil. Like, this one has depth because there's perspective in it. Oh, this is a little goat grazing, if you can't tell. Anyway, that has depth. And so this one, this owl, is just a flat one. It's just flat, and then you could put a branch on here if you wanted to, or whatever. And anyway, so these are the stencils that, and then I had to figure out, can I do these to scale, which is have more than 10 stencil designs, because what's the point of me doing them if it's going to take me, the rest of my life to fill these orders? And I never offer anything unless I have it in stock. So I have everything, shows the designs on the website. All the designs are there. And you can sign up for email me when they're back in stock so that you'll be notified immediately. So then I had to start sourcing trying to find a United States, because I live in the United States, try to find a United States supplier who could help me with this. And one thing led to another, and now I have somebody making these for me, and they put the little name, which is a detail I didn't anticipate. They put the name of the stencil here, and they put our logo right here, which is really cool. And they package them. So I had to design the packaging, and I got all that done and sent it off. And then we had to have prototypes and mail back and forth. And so it's taken quite a long time in order to get this done. But now that this is done, my next order is going to go much more smoothly. So this one, we have over 20 designs coming, and I wanted to show you those designs today. After that, we have 55 designs coming. So, and another thing too, we try to be as, offer convenience for y'all as best as we can. And so we do once a week because, we've listened to what you had to say. We put once a week instead of just updating soap dough when we have it, when we make it immediately. We wait once a week and we update it once a week. That's Thursday night before midnight. I usually update, and then I send the newsletter out on Friday morning we started doing it at 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, because it helps with the East Coast people a little bit more. And so, we try to pay attention to what you say. And I don't mean I do pay attention. I pay attention to all of it. I just don't do what everybody tells me to do because that's just not the way I work. I think for myself, and I think what's best for you all and what's best for me too. And that has to be in harmony. Otherwise, there's no point in it. If I begin to be resentful for my job, like I have been with every job I've had, then that's not going to work either, because I won't be around, right? So there has to be a good relationship between us. So I do some of what you suggest and some of because a lot of suggestions are just simply unreasonable, and those get dismissed. But then I do listen. I listen to the best of my ability and try to accommodate those things. So anyway, I took a lot of polls and I asked a lot of questions about these stencils. And so I tried to, in this first batch, to do the general ideas of things like groups of dogs and birds and things like that. So we have more specific things coming, which I'm really excited about. And but these should be, I just got a notification that they should be shipped soon. So depending on, it's probably going to be shipped, I think it's shipped FedEx, so it's probably going to be shipped ground, which means 7 to 10 days, or when they get to it. Who knows? Anyway, I wanted to go through these stencils and show you what the designs were. We have an owl, and why I did the designs and why I thought them through. Some people made some comments, anybody can make stencils. Well, okay, great, then go do it, but I don't think anybody's made soap stencils. And I put forth the effort to do that because I felt first of all, I do it for myself to see if it works and to see if I like it and I enjoy it. I really like stenciling soap. I really do. I just keep making soap to stencil it because it's so much fun. And it's a nice break from my highly detailed soaps that I make, which I'm going to revisit again, and I have put up some videos about those. But it's a nice break, and plus I like making soap, and I've made such highly detailed soaps in the last few years that they became sort of tiresome. A stress instead of a relaxation. And now I can just make one soap with a cool fragrance and one straight color, and then stencil the crap out of them. And so that makes me really happy. And so I set the situation up so that I first do things that actually work, and to see if I like to do them. And if I like to do them and I'm going to carry on with it, then I'll cultivate this other idea. And so that's how soap dough came about. That's how these stencils came about. And so, and what I realized is that, everybody has a different nose, obviously. So, you can't just have a whole bunch of owls. You have to have goats, owls, butterflies, a variety of things. So here's a goat. these are my prototype stencils that they sent me, and I started working with them to make sure that they work. That's the other thing why these things took such a long time, is because I had to create the design, figure out what the flaws were, stencil with them a couple times to figure out how, you know, maybe the owl was too big when I first made it, so I had to size it down and then recut it and do it over and over and over again. So yeah, everybody can make stencils if they put their mind to it, just like I did. Everybody can make soap dough and bring it to the foreground. But most people are just going to make a video. They're not going to write a book. They're not going to write 5 books. So that's how I'm built. That's what I want to do. And so I take it to the other degree so that you have something. Now you have these things that you can, you know, stencils you can look for. There just weren't any before this. Okay, so anyway, let's go through the stencils. I want to show you what I've got so far and show you some of the things that are coming, because that's pretty exciting too. And I know this is going to be a long video, and usually, well, whatever. Okay, so Hummingbird. So this Hummingbird is very cool because it all comes out. I had to make it a little thicker on the wings and the feet and clean it up a bit. But anyway, it says Hummingbird. And we have Rooster. And I have some of these. Oh, here, let me show you. Here's the Rooster. And here's the other cool thing about this is, so, you know, so I had to think this through too. Like, would somebody want a rooster on their soap? Well, yeah, there's lots of people that, you know, people that make homemade soaps oftentimes raise chickens and raise goats and horses and a whole bunch of other farm animals. And not only that, but you could use this as red. You could put multiple colors. I've seen people doing this already with some of the newer stencils, the small release that we did. And they're putting different colors of soap dough in here. And then I have a couple videos that you can see how I dust it with mica. And so people have been asking about the mica, doesn't it come off, and all these things. And I know, you know, I really love it when people try something and then ask me a question about it. Asking sometimes the questions before you've even tried it are self-evident. You'll figure that out. You'll see exactly what happens. So this situation here, when soap dough is wet, when it's pliable, it has moisture in it, and somehow when you put the mica on the soap dough as you stencil it, for example, so I put this on here like this, right, and the soap dough is right here still wet, and then I put the mica on, it packs the mica in there in a way that doesn't for a cured bar of soap, and it sticks a lot better. It like embeds in it somehow, and it stays in there. Now it's all going to wash away. It is soap. That's its whole intention, is to wash away. This isn't meant as super permanent, and even my embellishments aren't permanent. They're soap. They're going to wash away. That's the temporary nature of it, and that's the whole beauty of it. That's the wonderfulness of it, is to be able to use an actual practical object, a practical, useful tool, and still have it be interesting and fun and creative. So anyway, so that's that. So I just used all these as silhouette, black on white, so that they could be seen really easily. And because that's what I did. So here's a curious raven, and it says here, Raven Curious under here. And I have a cow. And I sent some of these to the Cow's Coop Soapery, and I even talked to Ashley on the phone. Delightful human being, truly a lovely, lovely person. And she started making these because I thought, how perfect. I didn't even know anything about her. I just thought, the Cow's Coop, and I looked at her soaps, and she has really cool soaps, and she's good at what she does. And so I sent her a couple of these stencils to see if she'd be interested in trying them. And sure enough, she did. And she did such a great job with it because, of course, if you're going to sell a soap and you have a little cow silhouette on there, that tells a big story, doesn't it? Immediately tells that story. So there you go. A buck. Some people think it looks a little bit like a Harry Potter deer, Patronus. And this some of these are tall and thin, and so they lend to a tall, thin bar. I my bars are always like this, but then you could use it any which way, so it doesn't matter. So, yep, there's a buck. And then, of course, the goat, which should be in a different order. Where is my goat? There. And then Pegasus, which is really cool. And it fits right on a bar of soap, too. So just barely, but I couldn't make it any smaller. And see, here's some of the things that need to be thought out. Couldn't make it any smaller because then you start to lose some of the detail and it doesn't lift off as nice. And so those are some very big issues too. So some of the little details, paw prints, because along this path, which I found really interesting. So I ran across some other soap makers while I was sharing some of these things that do dog rescue, and they donate some of their proceeds to rescuing certain types of breeds or different types of dogs. And so, you know, I used to rescue dogs too, and I know how, wow, that's just a whole different type of person. Like, it takes a huge strength of heart to do that, to rescue animals, to foster them, to raise them, train them up, find them a new home, let them go. Not all of those stories succeed, and I did that for a lot of years. I did it with dogs and horses, and so, you know, I stopped doing it, but that doesn't mean that, you know, other people aren't doing it. And so I thought, well, I can support that. So I made some stencils for people, and I made some Great Pyrenees dogs, and then I realized, oh, I can make some dog paw prints too, if you don't want a particular type of dog. And so these work really well. Let me see if I have one over here. So this is what this looks like that. And again, these all have to be, you know, sorted out so that they're on the size of a bar. And so anyway, did that, and that makes me happy that this part of my path, like, help me run across other people that are doing good works in the world. And anyway, there's the raven on the branch. It says Raven Branch right there. We have two of those in here. There's the laying kitty, like that. Whoops, there we go. And this is a new one coming out, which I'm really excited, is this little puppy Sit. And then this guy, the Weimaraner. It says Dog Stand, by the way, in the corner here. And then this is the 3/4 lab, which I love the dimension of this. I like the depth of it. And it says Dog Lab Stand 3/4 right in the corner. It's just my file name, but it helps me to see. Here's the cat Sit. I have that too. Let's see. There's a cat Sit. And then here's the unicorn. Oops. It's a prancing unicorn. Unicorn prance right there. I figured if we're going to have some horses, we should have some magical creatures too. Of course, I don't know that they're that magical. Some people think that they actually really did exist. So I had to fiddle around with the unicorn itself, because the images that are the graphics I kept getting were just too thin, because in relationship to the whole outside, when they were bigger, visually you can see them, but when they translated to stencil, they didn't work out so well. So I had to keep going back to the drawing board for these. These were a little bit more tricky. And then of course I had to, you know, fix the tail and do some other things because there were just too many details in his coat. So anyway, fix that. And then I have the horse without the unicorn because I like the shape of the head and I like the prance of it. So we have two options there. We have a running unicorn, much more detail in here. That takes a pretty thin layer of soap dough to come off, by the way. And if you take some water and you rub it against here before you lift it off, not a lot, just moisten your finger and rub it against there, it'll lift off a lot nicer. And then the lab Sit, because labs are awesome, and it was a cute, and just a really lovely detailed stencil. So we got that. And then we have the Adopt, which I really like. I really like it. Let me see if I can find it over here. Oh, I don't see it. So that's those. And yes, it's going to be a long video, but who cares? Because I want to show you some stuff. And if you want to watch, I'm going to show you. So now we have some new ones coming. I have some new dragon ones coming. Maybe you saw some pictures. There's a lot more detail and a lot more movement in them. And I'm pretty pleased about these. And then I have some, okay, the butterflies, which I'll put that over there. And then I have some new ideas coming too, which are separating the trunk and the leaves. And I don't have my soap here, but I've made these. I'll see if I can pull up a picture and put it in here. I've made these and they've turned out really nice. And it's just interesting because you would put the, well, this is how I did it. I stenciled the trunk on first, let it dry / cure. I know that's a tricky thought, but I'm going to say dry / cure because it just makes everybody happy. And then go back and stencil this. And you can get, you know, fall colors. You could put any colors in there to make the tree, anything that you want. Anyway, I like the idea of it. And so I'm still working on that. These are just some of the ones that I'm working with. Oh, I have a whole bunch of tracks. Sheep, cow, deer, cat. The chicken's too tricky, I think. I'm probably the only one that can make it work. Sheep, deer, what else? Horse. So, and I think these are really fun and super easy to use. Like, just easy. So that's great. See, here's the chicken. I don't know if you can see that. The chicken is just so, it's so thin. Any of the thin, really thin lines, it's pretty difficult and tricky to get those out. So I don't know, I'll offer that. I want to offer some flowers. I don't know if you've seen some of the flowers I've done. And see, here's the other, this is exactly why. So I couldn't find any stencils this small, this size that would work with soap dough. So I had bought a bunch of stencils and they all worked with cake. They worked with frosting. They worked with other things, but they didn't work with soap dough. And so that's why I worked through all these to create things that would work with soap dough. So and here's my more dragons. I had to work these out. I fixed these yesterday. So this all needed to be bulked up a bit and these needed to be fixed and just a bunch of stuff. And I need to reposition some wings and things like that. And so I did that. And here's another, this is a circle dragon, which I really like. I don't know why it is that some people like, oh, here are the hoof prints. These are the horseshoes. I have other ones that have the, what's the name of it? The, oh gosh, can't think of the name of it. Oh, you'll say it. If you think of it, say it in the comment. It's the interior, it's right there. The interior of the hoof. It's a little heart. I might have that one here. So here's another dragon. This dragon's really cool too. And his tail needed to be bulked up and some other things need to be fixed on that. So duck. Oh yeah, I did some duck prints. Those are pretty cool and pretty distinct too. So you could just tell. That was the other thing I wanted to make sure. Some of the tracks that I have, you can't really tell which ones are which or what they are. But you know, if you make a soap with like goat's milk and you want not just the goat on there, but you want the hoofs on there, then you're doing a show because the country's going to open up again and we get to be around each other soon. And you do a show and you have all these goat milk soaps that have little goats and have little goat tracks on them. People are going to know exactly what you got. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. See, like this moth, I think is interesting. It's an interesting idea. And there's lots of people sort of that are lean into the more macabre and dark things that like the moths. and I tried it. I don't think I'm going to offer it, and it's too fiddly, and it's just not, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. So, and then I did this beaver. It's too hard to tell what it is, and they're too tricky. You see all the little tiny feet in there? Those are really tricky. That's not going to work. So it'll work for me, but so here is the one that I was telling you about. This has the horse, I mean the hearts in the inside, and these are more detailed. And these are, I'm not sure I'm going to offer these either because they're so little and detailed. I might cause myself more heartache and grief than necessary just by offering them. So I'll just keep to the simpler ones for right now. These dragons might be the most detailed thing that I'm going to offer. I really like them, and I think there's some other people that like them too. So these are reindeer. The elk actually have a little bit more tipped in towards the hoof. So the reindeer have more of a splayed foot, but I thought these would be really cool for Christmas. And so I'm going to do some holiday ones. These are cat versus the dog. These are little prints, littler. And there's baby goat, which I thought might be good for the next go round. Baby goat. And I did some squirrels, and I was trying to combine them, but I just didn't really feel, I feel like keeping them separate's a little bit better for this, because I don't like that this is too close together right there. I tried to use it that way. And then butterflies, and I have plants, and I have a whole bunch of other things coming. So I just thought I'd share some of the stuff that I've been working on and why I've been working on it and what my thought process was. And hopefully you find it just as much fun to do all these types of soaps as I do. And thanks for watching.